Dean of the School of International Relations and Diplomacy. I joined Riara University 4 years ago. It's getting almost into 5 years. When I arrived in the school, one of my main vision was actually to create a trajectory that would create Riara School of International Relations and Diplomacy to the international scene. We had a vision of creating a hub in the region, trying to reimagine diplomacy as it were. And so we had to do a number of things, including internal organization, getting the right skill set of people, putting resources in place and creating networks, not just within the African region, but globally. Because our products, our students, their market is not limited to the national space. They can be employed in different spaces, but also in different contexts. And so the internationalization of the department was a key pillar in my strategy. I had a background, of course, in international relations. Of course, I specialize in peace and conflict studies, with a bias on geography of conflict. In my research, one of the questions I always ask is why conflicts occur where they do, the speciality of conflict. That is a field that fits into international relations, and it's relatively a new field. And so students are very much excited, and especially when you are opening up new avenues for them to adventure in the market. We've been able to develop strategic partners, both regionally but also globally. The purpose of those partnerships is in threefold. One is to enhance students' visibility, students' advancement. Those who want to go for further studies, we open doors for them. But another aspect of partnership is actually to build a critical mass of resources. When I talk about resources, I mean in the broadest context, networks. We also create an opportunity for faculty members to have exchange programs. I personally, I have spent time in South Africa in one of the premium science councils, the Human Sciences Research Council, which is based in Pretoria in South Africa. We have developed actually collaborative programs between Riara University and that council. And out of that, we've had so many outputs, including publications. We've also had developed programs, including science diplomacy for our university, but also in collaboration with other universities and research institutions across the continent and globally. One of the key success factors in managing such a robust department is ability to create networks, and we build on those networks to publish. I have published 7 university level books, something that I would say is a big honor, especially in academic space. I have contributed several articles to international peer-reviewed journals, and in fact, out of those collaborations and global networks, I've been able to be invited by a number of universities to be the guest editor. One is the African Conflict and Peace Building Review, which is actually based in the US, where I've been invited actually twice to be the guest editor. That comes, of course, with responsibilities, but because it's a field that we are used to, we do it collaboratively with the support of our junior staff, but also with other researchers and scholars across the globe. If you were to ask me Where will the department be in 5 or 10 years to come? One of the things that, if you look at the market for our students, one of the things that is coming out very strongly in our field is what we are calling digitization of diplomacy. We are looking forward to a future where different countries don't have to spend enormous resources sending or having diplomatic envoys in different parts of the world. We are trying to train our students on simulation. We have identified about 10 students in my department who we are actually training in collaboration with a university in Germany. At the end of the training, we are hoping that our students will be skilled in simulation, high levels diplomatic simulation. If we build such a capacity, we are hoping that they can spread the same. We can have a multiplier effect. And in fact, these students, if they can be employed by foreign affairs ministries or different ministries, they can utilize their skills because one of the things we are training them is actually how do you do digital diplomacy? How does a country like Kenya forge partnership with the US, forge partnership with China, forge partnership with the UK, while not spending a lot of money in physical facilities. Just seated here in Nairobi and you are able to do diplomacy, you are able to do negotiations. We are able to actually create business opportunities. So in fact, what we are doing in the school is actually to pull down diplomacy, if you wish, from the ivory tower to the ground, with the aim of supporting students' intellectual development, but also supporting policy development, particularly foreign policy for Kenya and other countries that are in the region and all over the world. When it comes to pandemics, I think one of the things that Riara University did in advance, way back before the pandemic, was to put infrastructure in place for online learning, commonly known as the ODEL, online education. And I would say that is the future of education, not just in Africa, but across the globe. So Riara University senior management and the Vice Chancellor with his vision, I think he was able to see far, and putting infrastructure in place for online, it was actually a plus. By the time the pandemic was striking late 2019, 2020, Riara University was already conducting online learning. And there are, of course, things that we can attribute that success to, and especially when you look at it from the School of International Relations and Diplomacy. One is that with online, we've actually seen our students getting motivated actually to learn, more than even the physical conduct or face-to-face learning that has been going on for ages. With online learning, one of the things or lessons that many universities and countries have actually come to learn is that it actually promotes self-responsibility when it comes to learning among the students. Our students have demonstrated a very high level of resilience in terms of being in a position to accomplish whatever projects they are able to. We've seen students actually being more creative or establishing different ways of coping with challenges that comes with online learning. What I said earlier in terms of simulation or digitizing diplomacy, online learning comes in very handy, because when you talk about, for example, digitization of diplomacy, we are saying, are we able to teach a new generation of students who are going to be diplomats, who are going to be political officers, who are going to be intelligence officers? Are we preparing them to deal with the current realities, the Internet of Things, the digital nature of diplomacy? Riara University is privileged because it blended very well with that school's vision. The question one would ask is that as we prepare our students into the labor market, what kind of value addition are we doing to them? Riara University is well established when it comes to community service, and In community service, one of the things we've done successfully is to establish a broader spectrum of partners. In fact, our students, whenever they want to do their internship or community service, they don't encounter challenges because we already developed those networks, the social networks. So within those networks, then our students are able to get opportunities to actually hands-on practice in terms of what they're learning or what we teach them in class. We've also been able to establish a stronger link between the school and those organizations, and particularly organizations which matter to a student of international relations. We are talking about United Nations, we are talking about regional organizations like East African Community, we are talking about continental bodies like African Union, and we don't just limit. Our curriculum is set in a way that it's global, although it also addresses regional and national issues. So our typical graduate would be in a position to fit in any of those global organizations. Talk of NATO, talk of the ASEAN, talk of European Union. All these organizations which are established to pursue institutional goals or global goals. Our students are pretty much well exposed to them. We are not just training them to narrow down on a specific subject, if a student undertakes international relations or diplomacy, they cannot be employed in different fields. That is not our philosophy. Our philosophy is established on the understanding that we have to establish a graduate who can fit in the society. This must be one who has the required skills in the market. They must have the knowledge of diplomacy or global system. They must also have the right attitudes. All those three things, when you put them together, they actually form who our graduates are. Why do we focus on that? One of the challenges that you find in the labor market is a lot of specialism. A student is a specialist in finance. You find a student, one is a graduate specialist in one particular aspect. But when you give them the job in real work environment, they don't have the skills that are required to pursue the job. And these are the feedback that we have received from employers. They would want us to develop our students, our graduates, in a way that when they get in the labor market, they are in a position to fit. They are able to fit in different spaces in those organizations. And so we emphasize skills. We also try our level best to also impact some values, some norms, some principles that we would want our students to carry while they're outside there. So our students, I would say our graduates, are actually whole-rounded, but also highly skilled. So they can be able to perform the duties if you employ them in the bank or if you employ them in a regional organization, for example, as a political officer or as an intelligence officer or maybe as a program officer. They are able to dispense the duties, in the mainstream, but they can also perform other duties within that setup. Riara University, and particularly the School of International Relations, is pretty doing good to get the right people to nurture and mentor our students. In what we call the golden teaching, the golden teaching experience. So our golden teaching experience is set up in a way that every semester we must expose our students to some practitioners. We get people from the military, high-ranking officers. We get people from United Nations. We get practitioners from other regional organizations and international organizations. Not just to talk to students, but also those who qualify, we actually assign them or we allocate them teaching loads, so that at the end of the the learning process, a student has been able to be grounded in theory and in philosophy, but we've also exposed them to different working environment, because those experts, they come in with experience, with the practical experience. They would also pave way for the students to practice their internship or community service. But even when they graduate, they have already established some kind of a relationship with those organizations. So this is the kind of model that we establish the school. Out of this model, we've seen our students not just excelling in the place of work, because we have established also a monitoring mechanism. We are able to monitor how our students are performing. We are able to track them. We are able to get feedback from their employers, and they tell us all these stories. Now, when we conduct our assessment, just to gauge on how far employers are satisfied with our students, we also make sure that we review our curriculum to a certain level to make sure that what our students are lacking, we are able to infuse in the curriculum. But where we are doing better, like for example, partnership and exposition of our students to different global scenarios, we make sure that we enhance those components of teaching. Only school that perhaps in the region would have a very practical simulation mechanism where students are able to simulate different scenarios in the global system. They can simulate negotiation in matters climate change. They can simulate negotiations in matters politics. They can simulate negotiations on different aspects of peace and security. And in fact, we've had our students participating in regional activities, including activities established, or rather those that are driven by the East African community. We've seen one of our students from the school being appointed as a deputy ambassador, the youth ambassador to the East African community. And in fact, since the appointment of this student, we've seen quite a tremendous positive change among the students' population, getting encouraged to actually undertake studies in diplomacy. And in fact, I would say a big number of our students get employed in those spaces as a result of these networks that we establish. For students interested in joining the School of International Relations and Diplomacy, I think I have one or two things that I would want to encourage you to think about. I think in the region, it's only Riara University that has developed a simulation mechanism, of course with the support of partners from Germany and other places. We are able to expose our students to simulation in different fields. They can simulate in climate change, they can simulate on global system, but more importantly, we are also giving our students skills on how to conduct digital diplomacy, which is the future of diplomacy and international relations.
My name is Juma Shabat Kirubai, and I'm a student of international relations here at Riara University. And I'm in my third year, first semester. Basically, our transition to online classes was, at first it was unfamiliar, of course. We didn't know anything to do with online. All our years of study has been actually since high school, time memorial. We've been having physical learning, the normal classes. You go to class, there's a whiteboard, there's a blackboard. You interact with other students. If it's group work, it's in classes. Nothing about online or such. Actually, we used to hear about online in other Western states. Learning online. But I think in 2020, around March 9th, we were hit by the COVID-19 pandemic, and everything changed. You know, the world changed. All of a sudden, we were told we have to remain indoors, we have to remain at home. And that's when it started, because we couldn't come back to school. Learning had to transition to online. And at first, personally, I couldn't understand how we are going to learn through the internet, through online classes. It didn't make sense to me because, I mean, we never had anything like that before. So for me, I would say the transition was at first was quite hard for me, because I felt like, will I understand as how I understand in class? Will I get the content of, you know, my courses like the way I was doing in class? But slowly by slowly, the lecturers, I will commend the lecturers and the administration, especially the IT department, because of the smooth transition. You know, lecturers started posting courses online, lecturers started delivering assignments online. We were given guidelines from the dean's office on how to, you know, to go about the online classes. I remember we had tutorials coming in through our school emails. And yeah, finally, slowly by slowly, we started getting the gist, because, you know, nothing in this world, I think, is constant. I think it's only God who is constant, you know. Everything is subject to change. So we had to adapt to, you know, this change of online classes. And basically for me, I've done almost my second year, all of it in online classes. I've learned through online, the OC, where the lecturers put in the assignments there, put in discussions there. And yes, I will say so far so good. Right now, as we transition slowly back to physical learning, I was doing my high school here at Upper Hill. And yeah, once I got my results, I was looking for universities, and I didn't know about Riara University. But one friend of mine called Sheila Heaven suggested to me, or rather recommended to me, the school. And I told myself, you know, let me go check it out, see if I can do my, you know, undergraduate in that school. So I remember once I was finishing high school, I had an interest in international relations. So I asked Sheila, first of all, before I came, if they offer international relations, and actually she told me she's doing the same course. So because she's my friend, I've known her since high school, I told her, okay, let me come and do it in the same school as you. So I came, registered for the course in the school, and I was finally here. Now, right now I'm in my third year, first semester, and I will say that this school has really impacted the knowledge of IR to me. You know, I wanted to do international relations because my view of the world and how I wanted the world to be. You know, the world is full of chaos, especially in Africa. In Africa, we have a lot of internal disputes. You know, they're called intrastate conflicts. And it basically affects the human security. And that is one thing that I aspire to change as an international relations student. I want to see states living in harmony, within their borders. If you remember in 2007, our post-election violence, where we had the former Secretary General, the late Kofi Annan, who came to mediate with our two leaders. You know, that is actually an action of international relations. And that is something that I would love to do, you know, as I grow up, you know, for the rest of my life. Seeing states, seeing communities in Africa living in harmony. And that is why, that's the main reason why I decided to do international relations. Riara University has been a very, very, very good school in terms of offering knowledge, in terms of international relations. My lecturers have always been there to answer my questions, ensure that, you know, anything that I may need for me to achieve my goals and success is always there for me. Another thing is the environment where I'm learning from. First of all, the students. Students are very friendly, you know, in terms of group work, in terms of, you know, seeking knowledge from them, seeking ideas from them. Students provide to you an environment where you feel like you want to keep coming more and more. So I will say right now I'm in my third year, almost completing my course, and I will say that this school has been a strong foundation for me in terms of learning international relations.
Did you know that over... Okay, cut. My name is Beatrice Onamu, a lecturer in the Department of International Relations and Diplomacy. So International Relations, Diplomacy School, we have degree program and diploma program. We also offer other short courses, have certificate in environmental diplomacy. We also have an MA program in progress, MA in regional studies and diplomacy. Partnership is our strength in the School of International Relations and Diplomacy. We have partners with different embassies within our locality, and our students get opportunities to maybe go there and visit them, and maybe also get internship opportunities with these different organizations that we partner with. So we have also partnered with other universities outside the country, giving our students opportunity to do exchange program with them. Currently we have an essay program in 2021, which we have already selected 4 students who will be participating in the program. So we have partnered with another institution in Germany. So they'll be doing the project together with our students here at Riara University. The mode of learning that we have in our department is blended learning, where we do online learning and also face-to-face learning. So currently we are under a program of blended learning. We do both online and face-to-face. International Relations is a global unit, or it's a global course. So we normally get applications from all over the world. Students applying to join our program from outside the country. So when they arrive here at Riara University, through the admission office, we help them facilitate their student pass so that they can have a smooth learning throughout the period that they are here in Riara University. Did you know that the employment rate for our graduates is over 85% in the job market currently? So some of our stellar graduates or our best students are able to be absorbed in international organization and even regional organization, and some of them even end up getting scholarship to continue with their studies. So some of the areas that our students, our graduates can maybe get opportunities is they can be good mediators, they can be good negotiators, they can also get careers in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, they can also get careers in the Ministry of Defense, they can also become international researchers, and they can also get careers in other organizations, because IR is wide and it's multidisciplinary in nature. Our school in International Relations and Diplomacy, we also have a center, a language center. We call it GLASS, which is Global Language Studies Center, a center for languages studies. So under the center, we offer different languages. If someone is interested, you don't have to be really doing international relations. Anyone, maybe you are still at home, you haven't decided which program you want to do, you can come to Riara, and our school, we have the language center. You can come and learn different languages. So we offer Chinese language, we also offer Arabic and French. So you're all welcome, and you can do those extra languages under our department. If you're looking for an institution where you want to come and do international relations and diplomacy, Riara University is the best, and our department is the best. We have very qualified faculty. We have the facilities, and this is just the best place to be, where you'll be nurtured, and also you'll be trained to be versatile diplomats in the global world.